All right, NFL Week 6. We got a bunch of games this week that we're gonna love to bet on. We're gonna make us and you guys a lot of money this week, and one of the reasons being we're starting to play against our biases. We're done betting on the Washington football team. We're not touching the Bears games. We're sticking with the teams that we know through 5 weeks that we know very well. We know how good they are, how bad they are, their strengths, their weaknesses, and we're gonna exploit that to make a lot of money. Let's take a look at some of the games that we like for this week.
Yeah, I agree with Ian. Washington football team is on a temporary leave for me as well. And with that, we'll jump right into it.
It's a broken man that doesn't want to bet the Washington football team. As always, follow us on Twitter at Profit of Picks. You guys get like real-time updates on bets that we like in the moment with some line changes and new information comes to light. Definitely worth the follow. And you'll hear our tweets, not just about NFL, but also about college football if you're betting that, or on golf or any other sport too, especially with college basketball coming up. You're going to get a lot of great live picks from our Twitter page.
Yeah, and on top of that, we're also going to be dropping some more props this week. We're just going to put some more bets out there because we've been hitting a lot of the bets that we haven't posted. So we just want that to be included in our units, and we want you guys to be able to play along with us.
Yeah, we want to be as transparent as possible too. Not going to add stuff to our units that we're not tweeting out. So definitely follow that soon. And as we talked about too, sign up for Prize Picks. It's a great daily fantasy app that you can use even if you're in states where sports gambling isn't legal. Again, the big ones: California, Texas, Florida. Sign up with code ProPicks. Get your first $100 matched in site credit if you use our code ProPicks. Great way to just get some extra money to gamble too, betting on some different props.
Yeah, as always, you get your two options here. You always have to make at least two entries, and you got your flex play, which is a built-in promo. Like we've mentioned before, you could always get one wrong and still at least, if it's only a 2-entry play, you can make a little bit of your money back. But if it's 3 legs or more, you're actually going to make a profit, even if one misses.
Yeah, what I've been doing, my strategy for the last few weeks, I'm always doing 3-leg entries, always doing the flex play. I'm going 2 for 3 most of the time, if not all the time, and I'm making a steady profit on that. So that's what I suggest you guys do. But the power play is great too. The 3 times payout, it's the best deal in sports. So definitely get on that. And again, use code ProPicks when you sign up. But with that, we'll get into the games. Saleo, I know you're loving this one. Yeah. As we speak, the Ravens are playing the Colts right now, and that definitely helps that we love the Chargers in this game. But tell me what you're thinking, because you're all over this more so than I am too.
Yeah, so I will admit I was down on the Chargers at the start of the year, wrongly so. Herbert's great. The receivers have shown up. Eckler's been a much more complete running back than I expected. O-line defense, this is a really good team. And they're used to not playing in front of a good home crowd. Even at home against the Raiders, they were outnumbered in fans. So I still love this team on the road, especially at plus 3.5. I think this game could potentially be close, but I actually like the Chargers to win this one outright.
I think they might win it straight up.
Yeah. So I expect this line to change a lot. Even if it nears towards even, I would still take a money line here. The Ravens look terrible tonight. And yeah, I don't know. Lamar Jackson just can't do everything for this team. They have no run game. Latavius Murray's doing his best, but without J.K. Dobbins and
Gus Edwards.
Yeah,
they miss their main guys. I'm guessing once the season comes along, the running backs might get more and more integrated in that offense, but just talent-wise, they can't compare to what they had. You got to love Justin Herbert here, especially compared to Lamar Jackson's arm. That guy's going to make every throw in the book, especially in a tight game. You can't say the same thing about Lamar. He's really got to rely on his legs a little bit more. On both sides of the ball, the Chargers are much improved and very balanced too, which I love in a football team. And the big difference from last year too, this team is competing in games like you saw against the Browns, but now they're actually winning them. That's the huge difference. They blew so many fourth quarter leads last year because they just couldn't close out games, and now they figure that out. And I love this team even more. It's such a fun team to watch, and I think that they're only going to keep getting better and getting more figured out too, because they're not even relying on guys like Keenan Allen as much as they used to, because other guys in the offense are stepping up. It's great to see.
Mike Williams looks great. I know you can't bet each week based off of the previous week, but the Chargers looked very good against the Browns, who I think are the best team in the AFC North. And I think the Ravens are trending a little bit down. I think the Bengals are going to compete for the top spot in that division even. So I really like the Chargers on the road here. Even if this line changes after tonight's game, I would take it, potentially even money line it even.
Yeah, Chargers are a really good football team, really competitive football team. Anytime you can get a team like that plus 3.5, you got to take that. So this line opened at 3.5 for the Bills, and myself, including the public, is loving this and hammering it. It's getting closer to 5.5. Even so, the Bills are just looking like one of the best teams in football too, with that just insane defense. I said it in early videos and maybe even in Survivor that I thought the Patriots defense might have been the better one in the division. I think I'm completely wrong about that. This Bills defense is just lights out, and it's not even just on one dimension. They're the best pass defense, I think, and one of the best run defenses, but combined, they're just insane. Josh Allen, that offense are clicking. He's not relying on one guy like just feeding the ball to Cole Beasley or Diggs downfield. Everyone's getting into it. Dawson Knox is looking like a pretty good receiving threat as a tight end too. They still don't rely on the run game that much, but having Josh Allen's mobility helps a lot too. The Titans, on the other hand, they had a pretty good game against the Jaguars, but that's not really saying much. Who really cares? It's the Jaguars. I think they're going to be missing Julio Jones this game. So with just A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, I don't think it's going to be enough to put up enough points compared to how the Bills are going to put up. Because, again, one of the best offenses in the league going up against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Titans. I just think you see the Bills put up way too much for this Titans offense to handle. Yeah. What do you think?
Just adding on to that, the AFC East hasn't been too great other than the Bills. But I do think the Patriots, the Dolphins are going to start pushing here in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. I think there's more pressure on the Bills to win these games that they're supposed to win than, say, the Titans, who have the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Colts, who have been underperforming. But we'll probably win tonight. Regardless, I think the Bills are rolling right now. They should have really beat the Steelers week 1. They should be undefeated right now.
Yeah.
They're pretty clear number 1 in my mind, in Ian's mind too, at the moment. You get a -4.5. against a non-complete team as the Titans, and you'll see later. But when you could tease a team like this too, you gotta
take it. I just think that Titans, their game is they're going to want to control the ball and the clock with Derrick Henry. That's what they did against the Jaguars. When they can do that, they're going to win the game. But against good teams, against a really good team like the Bills, that strategy is not going to work out so well. They're going to be forced to pass the ball a lot this game. And that has not been proven successful for the Titans this year, and that's kind of why they're underperforming. A lot of new personnel on offense and a new coach and new game plan and system there too. That's kind of getting them off the rhythm, and that's why this Titans team is not the same powerhouse on offense that we saw last year. Pair that with the Bills' great defense, I think that the Bills win this game by a lot. So even if this line moves more towards 5, even 6, I still like the Bills here. Game I love even more than this, the Bills game with the Chiefs. They need a win desperately. I don't care if this line was like -9.5. The Chiefs are going to win. They're going to win by a lot because Washington football team is one of the worst excuses for a defense right now I've ever seen, which is just a complete 180 from what we started this year saying. Everyone thought they were one of the top units. You watch a game, that's all the broadcasters are talking about. Everyone's so shocked about how bad they're playing on defense. That's exactly what the Chiefs need in a turnaround game. Patrick Mahomes is going to torch these guys completely. And I just don't think the football team's offense is competent enough to even be remotely close to how many points the Chiefs are going to put up. You're going to see Pat Mahomes go crazy. And what is it? What are they? 2-3?
2-3.
Like, and again, an ultra competitive division. They need this win. They're not going 2-4, and they're going to win this game by a lot. I'm not even betting the spread anyways. I'm teasing it, just so they win the game. I'm going to win the bet, but I just have never been more confident the Chiefs win right now, going against one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. Can't get a pass rush. And if you can't get a pass rush on Pat Mahomes, he's going to pick you apart all game. So everything we've been saying about the Washington defense, we're saying the exact opposite because that's just how they showed up this year. No one showed up. They haven't been playing well. The only defense worse than the football team's defense is the Chiefs, but I really don't care because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and the football team has XFL quarterback Taylor Heinicke.
Also, just another addition onto what Ian said. If you watched the Washington football team versus the Saints this last week, Jameis was one of the lowest in the league for quarterback yards, passing yards per game. He hit 2 deep bombs. He had a Hail Mary at the end of the half too. He was chucking it deep. Jameis wasn't doing that the entire year. I think Patrick Mahomes absolutely lights him up. They're giving up the deep ball all day to Jameis, who hasn't even thrown it until week 5. I think the Chiefs put up around 40 points, if not more.
Chiefs going to win this game by 20. They need to. They just need to win the game, and they're going to be full throttle here. It's not going to be close. Another game that's great tease territory around the -6, -7 area. The Buccaneers we both really like these guys. They've looked really good the past 2 weeks, especially obliterating the Dolphins. What I like so much about the Bucs is their defense, how good their run game is, how good their run D is, and they force the offense to be one-dimensional. When you force subpar, even average quarterbacks to carry the team on their back, just throwing. It makes the team a lot harder to win it because the defense on the other team just is predicting what you're going to do, right? You know they're going to pass. You start stacking the secondary instead of stacking the box and taking away the receiving options. That's what the Bucs do so well. When you have Tom Brady in prime time, that's always a little bit more confidence booster. You know he's going to be ready for the big stage, get ready to win when everyone's eyes are on him. So that's why we like the Bucs here. Not betting at -7. Again, teasing this one down because I think all they got to do is win this game, and I think they do that pretty handily against an Eagles team that seems like they have no run game going on offense right now. And the defense isn't that all that great either.
Yeah, just on top of that, once again, this is a Thursday night game. You gotta love Tom Brady and primetime matchup. He always comes to play when the lights are on. I definitely like the Tampa Bay just to win this game.
Yeah, I could see the Eagles keeping this game close because Jalen Hurts is unpredictable. He's an X factor. He can make plays. But at the end of the day, they're not going to really get any run game. And this is a back and forth game. Obviously, give me Tom Brady in prime time over Jalen Hurts and an offense with whose wide receiver core is a little bit below average too. So I just think the Buccaneers are going to take care of it in prime time. That's kind of the script that Tom Brady's been doing his whole career. So here's a game that Slee was all over too. We got the Panthers. They're favored by 1.5 points, but we're just going to take the money line. And you're really not paying that much more for the juice here. So just take them to win this game straight up.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with the -1.5. I think Sam Darnold has looked great this year, honestly. He's led this team very well. They should have beat the Eagles. They kind of sputtered at the end. But I do expect Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook to both be back this game.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of view that as a wash. And just looking at the game from that perspective, I think the Panthers are going to win this game. The Vikings love to run the ball. Kirk Cousins isn't very mobile in the pocket. He'll pass it when they need to. But the Vikings have been a run-heavy team. Alexander Madison's ran for like 100 yards last week. Yeah. But this Carolina run defense has been great. Not many teams have been able to get many rushing yards against them. And I just expect the Panthers to really shut down their run game. And I don't expect Kirk Cousins to be able to make those plays to keep the Vikings in this game, let alone winning it. If Christian McCaffrey comes back, I expect the Panthers to win this game pretty easily. They're at home after a letdown game. I just feel like it's the perfect formula for the Panthers to come back, get back on the right track. Started off 3-0, I think, lost their last 2. I do think this is a good team, though. We both have them on the over wins on the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to come back here and get the win against the Vikings.
I don't think it's going to be an easy one, even with McCaffrey being back. But McCaffrey being back in that offense, it's a lot more than Cook being on that Vikings offense, just because McCaffrey is just such a threat out of the backfield to catch passes and go for like 80 yards receiving in a game too. Takes a lot of pressure off Sam Darnold too, knowing he can throw the ball, check down to a sure-handed running back that's going to pick up a ton of yards after the catch too. I think also the longer that CJ Henderson and Stephon Gilmore on this team, the more they can get integrated within this defense, the more that they're going to play as a cohesive unit, the more dangerous that defense is going to be. So I think each week that goes by, keep looking out for this Carolina defense to get a little bit better and better, especially in the secondary. They're getting unreal pressure rates on quarterbacks, which has always been Kirk Cousins' kryptonite. You know, he can always throw the ball in a clean pocket, but when he gets pressure breathing down his neck, that's when you see Kirk Cousins start to falter a little bit. I think that's what you're going to see this game. Panthers with McCaffrey. He's going to have a great game back. And I think that I love this Panthers money line, like Steve would too. And here's a game that I think a lot of people are eyeballing early in the week, especially that I think is a red flag. I know you do too. Something that I saw this line, this Arizona Cardinals team is undefeated. Browns are coming off a loss, yet the Browns are favored here. I'm sure the public, this line opened at +3 for the Cardinals and since moved to +2.5. I'm sure the public has already been hammering the Cardinals at +2.5, but I want to say that it should be a red flag just because none of this really makes sense. An undefeated team going against a team with 2 losses and a quarterback with he's got a partially torn labrum in his left shoulder. They should probably be the favorites, right? They're not. So while it looks really easy and really tempting to bet the Cardinals +2.5 here, We're staying away from it. We think you guys should too. Something about this seems really fishy. The Browns also in a competitive division where they need a win to stay in that, especially with the surprise Bengals, doing well. And then the Cardinals, who are on top of the world right now. Everyone's talking about how they're the best team in football. Kyler Murray MVP. I think maybe this is their week to come back down to earth a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals won this game, but again, this line just doesn't make any sense to me, and that's why I'm staying away from it. If you're looking at it and it doesn't make any sense to you either, that's a good reason and a red flag to stay away from that game. Anything you want to add about that?
No, basically just agree with Ian here. I think it's a big red flag game if you're looking at the Cardinals, because I personally like the Browns here at home, coming off a tough loss to the Chargers. I know this Cardinals defense has looked pretty good, but I'm interested to see how they could stop the two-headed attack of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. That run game has just been great. And yeah, I'm curious to see how the Cardinals, if they can stop that. I love the Cardinals. I love them preseason, but now that they're undefeated, I just feel like they're going to be due for a loss eventually. They're projected to be last in the division. I got them at plus 4,000 for a Super Bowl.
Did you really?
Yeah, for a Super Bowl.
Well, good luck. But
I just think they're going to be due for a loss. Everybody's huge on them now because they're undefeated, but nobody was this high on them at the start of the year.
It's going to be a great game to watch regardless. Like we said, definitely stay away from the Cardinals. We're not betting the Browns either. It's just a game that I could see going either way. And it's just a good one to stay away from because it doesn't make too much sense here. So yeah, that we'll look at our card for the week. Like I said, I love the Chiefs are in these teaser bets. The Chiefs desperately need a win. They're going against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes just got embarrassed in prime time against the Bills. They're going to step up this game. They're going to win by double digits. Even if they're not, I don't care. Just win the game. I'm putting it in the teaser. The lock of the week is Chiefs tease with the Bills. Again, I think the Bills, they're looking at the most complete team in football with that offense and defense. They don't need to be that balanced on offense because they have Josh Allen's legs for mobility. He's running the ball for like 60 yards a game and has such good arm talent. The defense is holding even the best offense like the Chiefs to 20 points a game. I would be surprised to see the Titans put up much more than that. Another teaser bet, Chiefs again with the Bucs. They just got to win prime time with Tom Brady. That's a pretty good proposition if you ask me. Just asking Tom Brady to go beat an inferior team in prime time. Then again, Sleewa's picks, the ones that he loves, are up here.
Yeah, obviously, we talked about the Chargers plus 3.5. I like them a lot to cover against the Ravens, and then Panthers to win at home against the Vikings. We're not going to get too much in those. We already talked about them, but we're only each putting 2 bets on our card a piece this week. You guys are going to want to look on Twitter at Profit of Picks. The username that shows up, still Professional Picks, and our logo will be there. But we're going to be putting out a lot more bets this week on Twitter. We want to see how a couple things go this week. The Broncos might be an interesting play now that Gruden just got fired.
Yep.
But you guys are going to want to look on Twitter. You definitely take this lock. Our locks have been doing great. We're at 9-2, 4-1 in the NFL. But definitely stay tuned for some Twitter picks later in the week. We're trying to make some more money this week. We're feeling good. Yeah,
and especially it's things like we're talking about this assumption for the Panthers money line. We're thinking McCaffrey's for sure going to play. We're thinking Cook's going to play. If something changes there, if Cook doesn't play and McCaffrey does, we might put more units on this. If McCaffrey's out, then we might change this bet. So it's definitely another good reason to follow us on Twitter. You're going to want to definitely give the follow because you're going to see a lot of tweets this week, more so than you guys have seen before.
Yeah. So as always, we hope you guys like this video. If you haven't already, make sure you like it and you subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments if you're telling us what you think of our analysis. We hope you guys respect us. Stop betting on the Washington football team.
Yeah, that's one thing. We're getting better at learning about our mistakes. We realized pretty quickly that the Washington football team wasn't that great, but then we still kept betting them. We're done with it now. The Bears are the same way. We just don't know how to bet those teams, so we're staying away from them. You're going to see a lot of Chiefs, Bills, Bucs, these teams that we've been watching a lot on our cards more often because we understand these teams a lot more. Catch you next week. Let's make some money, guys.